Hi, I'm Samantha Taylor, and you're listening and watching the Community Leaders Podcast.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy Los LOS, and you are watching the Community Leaders Podcast. And today we have a special guest on the table, and she goes by the name of Samantha Taylor. What's up, Samantha?
Hey, Los, what's up?
What's up? How you feeling?
I am happy, energetic, blessed, resolved. I'm here for it. I'm vibing with you.
Okay. So you had a little mishap getting here.
Yeah. Yeah. A woman in a vehicle is not a good thing to pair, especially when you have difficulties. But it's okay. I pushed through. I got here, and I'm still smiling.
You sure they got here, and you sure are lighting up the room. That smile you have.
I know. Big ups to my dad for making sure I knew how to handle my situation. So yeah, we're not gonna forget to give him credit for helping me with that.
Amen to that. So Samantha, tell the people what you do.
As of right now, I am doing food insecurities in multiple capacities. Over in Garfield Park, where I live, we are considered a food desert. So I'm working with different entrepreneurs and making sure that they get the access of resources to get a brick and mortar, to get a food truck, and to make sure that they can also provide healthy options and food so that we can get more food places in Garfield Park.
So how long you been doing this right now? This particular position that you have right now?
This particular position I've been doing now for the last 4 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the last 4 years. Mm-hmm. But I've been overall in food over 20. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I just, contrary to my weight, I love food. I love everything about it. I like how food makes people feel. Mm-hmm. And I think we learn how to love food when we're little children and we sitting there getting our first bites of stuff and our legs get to swinging, we get to dancing and enjoying what that does to us.
So, what got you into it?
When you have to, in high school, when you have to pick a major that will have longevity, mm-hmm. One of the things I thought about was we're going to always eat. It doesn't matter what technology changes, what's the new fad. We're going to always have to eat. We're going to eat when we travel. We're going to eat when we're driving. We're going to eat when we're celebrating. We're going to eat when we're sick. We always have to eat. So that let me know that would be a arena that I can get into that will have longevity. I will always have a job. Because no matter what, I will have a job because people going to eat.
People have to eat, right?
Yeah.
We need to survive. So therefore, we will eat even food that we don't even like.
Right.
We need to survive.
Exactly.
Awesome. So let's get a little bit into you and what makes you tick. Samantha, when you were 10 years old, who were you? Who was Samantha at 10 years old?
I was a caretaker.
Okay.
There was me, and I have an older brother, I have a younger brother, and I have a cousin who came into our household who I consider my sister because she was raised with us. And I just made sure we were good. I've always thrived with feeding people. So at 10, my dad was like, it's time for you to learn how to cook because he worked third shift. So when it was time for us to have dinner, my mom would be meeting and working and he would be at home, but he's like, you got to feed y'all. So he started teaching me how to cook. And that's how I became a caretaker and people started liking my food, even though some of the food I made I didn't care for. But that's how I got started. I was caring for people and feeding people.
So you're just not running around in the neighborhood having fun. You're in the kitchen cooking for people.
Yeah, I've always, if I wasn't cooking, I was selling stuff that we had left over from events. So I think one time we had a big pork roast that was made. And so what I did was we couldn't eat it all. So my dad would hang out in the garage with our neighbor and he fixed cars. Mm-hmm. So I fixed my dad a sandwich and I took it outside. Mm-hmm. And he was eating it. And somebody was like, hey, where you get that from? Where you order that from? He's like, oh, my daughter making them in the house. You want to buy one? It's $5 for the sandwich. So I made him a sandwich. And then somebody like, oh, I want one too. I'm like, okay, anybody else want a sandwich? I'm taking one big mass order because I'm not going to keep running back and forth.
Okay.
And then after that, it went from me making sandwiches and selling sandwiches to me getting a snack stand. So I have all the candy, the nachos, and was supplying the kids with all the sugar they could imagine. And then it just grew from that. So it went from my snack stand to me doing it at school. And then after going through school and getting introduced to one of my teachers in high school, Miss Maggie Ellis, food became a source of joy. Like you would see how people would be happy, how it would make them feel, how it looked. And food became pretty. Like the prettier the food was, she was like, the better the dollar you can get. I was a girl that liked money.
So you mentioned a food stand, though, and I'm thinking I got to pull you back a little bit. So you have a food stand.
Yeah.
Where was this food stand? Was it like in front of your house? Was it in the backyard?
It was
it at the
on the
schoolyard?
side of my house, outside of the garage, where they were working on cars. So I grew up on Thomas and Pine, and the building is still there. So every time I drive past it, my daughter like, Mama, you don't have to keep pointing out this way you grew up. And I'm like, but I'm proud of it.
Oh, I do the same thing. I do the same
right.
thing, yeah.
If the building you lived in, because a lot of buildings are being torn down, you can still say, oh, that's where I was. The building has nostalgia. The building had great architecture structure. The apartments were really lovely on the inside, very big and spacious, long hallways.
They usually are in the West Side.
I know, right?
They're beautiful apartments over there. Especially those gray
Some
stones and
people
the
don't wanna give
brownstones.
none of that up, and I thank God for longevity. I'm glad the people on the West Side have been one of the communities who can still hold on to their property.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was outside on the side of the garage, and I had 4 milk crates, and I took a plywood, we put it down, and throw all the candy out on the board.
Okay. So it was milk crates, plywood, and then you had like buckets and stuff like that.
Yep,
or
my
containers.
buckets, my bins, my baskets, my boxes, everything.
So what was your big seller?
Um,
If you could remember back then.
My icy cups and
Icy cups
and the fish, like jellyfish, any of the little gummy candies that at the time was a penny when you can buy the penny candy.
Okay, so what? They were a penny for you.
No, they were a penny. Like,
Well, how much did you pay for them?
I mean, it was like at the time getting it, because it was like $20 for the container.
For container. Okay,
for a container. Like I would buy them. Like I would go to the candy store. Like my mom would take me to the candy
like
store,
the warehouse kind of candy store kind of. Okay.
And she's like, "What you want?" I'm like, "We're gonna get some chocolate. We're gonna get this." I got the little circle cookies that had the icing on top, the lemon and the strawberry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had all the good stuff. I had it all. So yeah, it was really good to be able to have those memories and start my entrepreneurial journey. Even when I didn't know that was the beginning of my journey. I just thought I was a kid making extra money to go get me some shoes and be able to go to the movies and get on the bus and hang out with my friends.
So how did that feel, if you can remember back then when you're 10 years old and you have this food stand on the side of your house next to the guys fixing cars and people coming up to you and they're buying stuff? What joy did that bring you?
It felt good. Supplying people with stuff they need and like. And it was even more better because when I wasn't out there, it was people still looking for me. Like when I was like, Mom, I'm not going to put my store out because I want to go play with my friends. She's like, okay. But then people see me playing, they be like, the store not open? Why are you playing? The store needs to be open. I'm like, I'm not open today.
You got some licorice on you, some something?
Right.
Some
What the
jellyfish?
whams and stuff. No, I want to play. So, I mean, but it was good to see that I was needed and that I had a positive place being needed with what I was supplying.
You were popular.
I know. Well before my time, right?
That's awesome. So that kind of started you said, on your entrepreneurship journey, which actually is helping you now with what you're doing now.
Yes.
Because you're still helping out people with food.
Yep.
Right? Things we consume.
Yep.
This is how you started. And this is what you're doing now. So can you tell me something about what you're doing now that has impacted you?
Reintroducing people in my community to food that we already know traditionally. My mom has a garden, and it has a greenhouse, and so she grows her vegetables, and they sell the vegetables in a collective with about 20 other gardens at the Garfield Park neighborhood market. And so at the market, they grow like Swiss chard, Swiss chard, kale, all type of mixed greens, heirloom tomatoes. So these are things that we don't normally see all the time.
Yeah.
And traditionally, greens, we know collards, mustards, and turnips. We don't know no other greens. We know regular string beans, and preferably from the can or frozen. Tomatoes, we just know the beef eater tomato or the Roman tomato. So we don't know a vast variety of things. And just being able to reintroduce those items and showing them the vast variety of how you can cook them and add flavor into what we already know, that's awesome. Because people get excited. And then it engaged people who are watching me to talk to the person next to them, which is something that we don't do no more. We don't like to talk to the person next to us.
Right.
We just like to be in the same space.
Sometimes, it's like that sometimes.
Don't interrupt me. Don't get into my conversation because you're invading my space. But I create a space where people can freely and willingly engage.
That's awesome. So I brought you back to now. We were talking about when you were 10 years old.
Right.
Who were you at 15 years old?
A workaholic. A person striving to make sure that what I needed to get so that I could go to college, I could get it. Like, I love my dad, but he kind of sold me to a lot of people.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that? You gotta. Come on now. You gotta open that up and let us know what you were talking about.
So I want to say around the time I'm gonna go back a year, 14. At the time, you had to be 15 to get a work permit to actually work. So Barney's Pizza, who is in Austin now on Chicago Avenue, he opened up his first pizza restaurant on Division in the strip mall on between Parkside and Waller. At the time, my daddy was transitioning through jobs. So he was working as a delivery driver. And Barney, his name was Barney, he was like, man, we so busy, I need somebody who can actually write and answer the phones and, sound like they is, smart about what they're doing and can write so that they can read it. And my dad go, how much is paying? Oh, my daughter can do that, I'll be right back. I'm at home watching TV, I'm just chilling. He like, get up and put your clothes on. I'm like, where I'm going? You got a job. I'm like, what? How? I didn't apply for a job. I'm a kid. What are you talking about? So I started working that job. I want to say I worked that job through high school, but then we were at McDonald's at a birthday party.
Okay.
And we were at the McDonald's on North Avenue and First, and this is when the Kitty Land was open. So that McDonald's stayed busy.
Yes.
So we're there on a Saturday afternoon. It's busy. My dad again. Man, you need some help up in here. He's like, the manager was like, I know, you got some? He like, yeah. How much is paying? I'm like, what are you doing?
You're just standing there like, what's going on right now?
I'm like, all I wanted was french fries.
Right.
You done gave me a job. He was like, you in school? So the manager's like, you in school? I'm like, yeah, I'm in school. He like, okay, come and see me Wednesday when you get out of school. Bring her Wednesday when she get out of school. Like, Daddy, like, why are you giving me all these jobs? Like, I'm not Jamaican. I don't need 3-4 jobs. So it was through that time I learned my work ethics and what's required to be responsible.
Right.
And how people will view you and see you when you're responsible and you're good at your job. So that's what I was learning.
So did you keep your money?
Yes, I did.
I know, because when I was a kid, I worked as well. But my mama took my money, and she's like, there's bills to pay.
I had to share. So it was kind of like, because I had 2 jobs, so I had to share. So the one job, of course, because I was too young, I wasn't getting a check from that job. But then when I was old enough to work at McDonald's, I got a check. So I had to share. So, because my brother was too young to work, because he's 3 years behind me. So, of course, he was too young to work. And then my cousin, she was a lot of years behind me. She was still little. And that was a problem, because when I would leave to go to work, she would always want whatever I bring back, but she would always cry. And someone was like, you got to talk to her on the phone. I'm like, Mom, I'm at work. Like, just tell her to stop crying. I'm like, okay. So what I got, I had to share. Mm-hmm. So that was just part of being that caretaker of my siblings because that's just what I had to do.
I know exactly what that was because when my mom asked me for the money, it was to take care of the whole family. Yep. It wasn't just, that's how we ate sometimes, and that's how we got clothes sometimes. It was just like that. Everybody had to pitch in.
So yeah, I mean, it was good. I'm not gonna complain at all. It was the best time of all.
That's good. That's good. So we're getting into our 20s now.
Don't tell nobody.
Who was Samantha in her 20s?
In my 20s, I was a young lady discovering North Miami.
North Miami.
So
you left the Windy City.
Yes, I left the Windy City to go to North Miami.
What were you doing there?
I was in college.
Okay.
I was in college.
Wait. Let's go back because we're having a conversation. So you went to grammar school here. Mm-hmm. You went to high school here.
Yes.
What high school did you go to here?
I went to Westinghouse. So you got to clarify when you say you went to Westinghouse.
Let's go.
I went to the candy factory, Westinghouse.
What does that mean? I'm sorry.
So Westinghouse, the building that Westinghouse High School was in was originally a candy factory. And it was converted to a school.
Wow, I did not know that.
And at one point, it was Westinghouse High School, Westinghouse Vocational High School. Mm-hmm. And then it changed from Westinghouse Vocational High School to Westinghouse Career Academy.
Okay.
Until what it is today. Yeah. They tore down the actual candy factory and built the new school that they have now that now has a football field, track, and all those other beautiful amenities that, of course, the candy factory didn't have.
But originally it was a candy
factory.
The candy factory
was the best. So anybody listening to this that went to the candy factory, whoop, whoop, that's what it was.
Did it smell like candy in there?
No, it did not. It did not. The third floor smelled like cake and food.
Okay.
The first floor smelled like a beauty salon. And the second floor was just business stuff. So it was just neutral territory.
Look what I'm doing. I'm bringing up those scents back.
I know.
Literally.
I mean, because by being a vocational school, you were able to get your hair done because you had the people who were doing cosmetology.
Okay.
Then you had the people who were in business, who was in graphic arts, who was learning how to do graphic arts before all of this AI and computer stuff. They had the tractors and the rulers and the T-square and all those things. And then also on the first floor, if you drove, you could get your car fixed because auto mechanics was on the first floor as well.
Do they even have classes like that anymore?
You know what? Not many places. No.
Yeah. I think they got rid of all that stuff.
Some places did. Some of the schools don't have vocational stuff anymore, which is like sad because that's when you learn to discover yourself and find out what you want.
Yeah.
So it's a good place because our freshman year, you got a list of what it was. It was like, stay focused on your studies, but this is what you have to choose from. Then in our sophomore year, it was like you got an option to pick three career vocations, is what they called them. You got to pick 3 vocations that you wanted to try. And so first quarter you was in one, second quarter you in another one,
What did
third.
you pick?
I picked business, I picked graphic arts, and I did pick auto mechanics.
Did you?
Yes.
Did you actually do it?
Yeah, I went.
So if I need an oil change right now, you got me?
I can check your oil and I know what the pan is. It's gonna be a struggle, but we're gonna get it done. Might be a little rusty at it, but I can change your tire.
Okay.
I can change your brakes.
Okay. Really?
Yeah, I can change your
Nice,
brakes.
dope. I say really because I don't know how.
So yeah, I got you on the tires and the brakes. Don't worry, I got you. May take a couple hours because I'm a little slow, but I got you. Don't worry.
Hey, that's good stuff. So you graduated from Westinghouse.
Yes, in culinary arts.
Okay. All right. Got to make sure you say that. All right.
Yes,
cool.
I started in culinary arts, and through Westinghouse, I was able to participate. At the time, they had a CLF competition, which is the Chicago Culinary Arts Program competition. And so it was all the high schools who did the vocation of culinary, and they had we had to cook like a half a chicken, make a salad, cook some vegetables, and they graded you on your presentation, flavor, and taste. Then they also did baking. So if you were a baker in culinary, you were able to bake and design a cake, and they graded you on your showman of all those things.
Samantha, we're here talking about food, and I'm getting hungry.
I
You didn't even
know.
bring me something. I think you were supposed to. We talked last time. You were supposed to bring me something.
Yes, I was supposed to
think it
bring
was, yeah.
cookies. Yes, I was
yeah.
supposed to bring some of my famous cookies. I do apologize.
Next time. 'Cause I'm gonna be at the next event. I will be there.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Cookies on deck.
Cookies on deck. All right, cool.
Send me a calendar invite so I don't forget. Yeah, no, I got you.
So you're in Miami now.
Yes.
What does that look like?
Will Smith, we going to Miami. No. So I went to Johnson Wales University with a private, non-for-profit private institute. We only went to school we went to school Monday through Thursday. We didn't have class on Friday.
Okay. And you went out by yourself to Miami?
I went by myself. I didn't have no family there. I had the closest family I had that was blood related stayed in Plant City. And that was like a 2-hour drive from Miami. And then growing up, I have an aunt who had a friend named Rosita and her husband Floyd. They stayed in Fort Lauderdale, which is like 45 minutes away. And so my aunt made sure that they knew that I was there. They knew me because they lived here in Chicago before they moved there. So it was already a relationship built. So I did have some support, but like actually I went on my own. I left to go to school by myself.
How did you feel going out there on your own?
I want to say I cried on the bus when I took it to go.
You took the Greyhound.
I took the Greyhound. Like
They didn't put you on a flight. They're like,
we don't want you to get that fast. We want you to enjoy it. So
all right.
I took the Greyhound. My mom and my dad took me. I sat on the bus and I cried about it. I'm like, oh my God, like, don't nobody want to go with me. Like, y'all just sending me off by myself. But on the other end, the school had a program where they had students come and pick you up.
Okay.
So I was lucky enough to have Westinghouse pay for us to go on our spring break to actually go to Miami and see the school. And I built relationships with people that were there. I was given a nickname as usual when I went. And so, yeah, it was good.
You can't fly by that one. You gotta say the nickname.
We won't.
You can't mention it and then not say it.
I had a classmate that was with me in culinary in high school. And so, kids can be really, really harsh.
They can?
Really harsh. And so he was going around talking about giving everybody names. He was like, well, Samantha, you look like your name would be Boom Boom Belinda. I say Boom Boom Belinda. And of course.
This is early 90s?
Yeah. And of course it stuck. And so when we went on the trip, there was a guy from here. His name was Nick. And he was in like our tour group when we was in Miami. And he was asking everybody's name. And he heard somebody, they was like, hey, Boom Boom. And he was like, who is Boom Boom? He's like, Samantha, the girl. He said, yeah, that's Boom Boom. And it was ironic because I was able to leave that name back in Chicago. But when we got to Miami, he actually showed up and was registered to attend school. And he was like, hey, Boom Boom. And I was like, oh my God, like really? Like, no, I say, Nick, you're my friend, and I want us to love each other, but you will not call me that all day.
Boom Boom Belinda.
So, yeah, and it was funny because when I graduated, it was funny because all of my classmates, they say your name and people clap and cheer.
Right.
Everybody was, boom, 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 boom. I was like, but I loved it because people giving you a name like that and it's sticking to like
Samantha,
a term of
you're
endearment.
popular everywhere you go. Everywhere you go, you're popular.
Well, of course, the lady with the food and the candy is always the popular person. Like, are you serious?
Yeah, but you didn't have food and candy this time around.
I sold candy in high school.
We're going to college. We're in college.
Yeah, but that's how I got it. But you know what? In college, I did fix meals in college. I did microwave meals.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I cooked breakfast in the microwave. I made like spaghetti in the microwave. I made tacos from the microwave because we wasn't supposed to have a hot plate. So you have to figure out how you gonna eat. And Roman noodles just wasn't gonna cut it. So yeah, we got very creative. I was like doing chicken breasts and making mashed potatoes. Like we were eating like from a stove.
Wow. So tell me your experience in college other than food.
It was fun. It was fun. I've made long-lasting friends and relationship people that I keep in contact with. I became a sweetheart. So Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated.
What is that for the people that don't know? What does sweetheart mean?
So Iota Phi Theta is a fraternity.
Right.
So you have fraternities and sororities. So I was a auxiliary to the fraternity. Most fraternities all have female liaisons who join auxiliaries to them. So you have diamonds, you have roses, but we were teddy bears.
Okay.
Phi Iota, the colors are brown and gold. And yeah, I love those men to this day. Like, they sent me through. So they knew that I had skills. Like, they knew I had, like, domestic skills. Like, because being in college, you, like, really broke. And so at the time to get, like, they were getting ready to do, one of the groups were getting ready to do their coming over ceremony. Mm-hmm. And they had these Dickie cargo suits, like the auto suits, that were brown, and they needed to get their letters on them, and they all had to be the same. It cost $12 a letter to get them actually stitched on from the actual store. Yeah. And so one of the guys, he just could not afford it. And so he came, he was like, because he knew we wore uniforms, and so I would charge people $4 to hem your pants for school so they wouldn't be extended long. Right. So he was like, well, being that you know how to sew and I know you were stitching pants, can you stitch my letters on? I'm like, okay, I'll stitch your letters, but you got to go buy the stuff. Like, I don't have the stuff. Like, you got to go buy what I need. Mm-hmm. So he said, okay, cool. This was one person. When he went and brought the stuff I needed and he brought it back,
I could just imagine.
I had 6 jumpers to do.
I thought so, yeah.
I had 6 jumpers to do. And they needed it in 2 days.
You've been in service ever since you were a little girl. Ever since you were 10 or even younger. You've been in service the whole entire time.
That's my love language. I mean, really, in real life, that's my love language. Like, if I can't feed you and we can't talk about food, I really feel like you don't like me. Like, you don't.
Well, I'm
like,
glad I brought up the food that you're supposed to bring.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's other ways to communicate, but like, if like we have a bond, and if I be like, oh, did you eat today? Can I feed you something? You be like, no, I'm okay. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, I really would think something wrong with you. Not the fact that you might have ate before you came in contact with me, or like you may not be feeling what I cooked, but I'd be like, what's wrong with you? We got a problem? We need to talk about this. Word. What did I do?
So you did some time in Miami in college.
Yes.
Why did you come back to Chicago, or did you want to stay in Miami, or? Yes
and no.
Okay.
I would have stayed in Miami because at the time, like when I got ready to finish my senior year, I was working as a training manager at Steak and Shake at the time, but somebody broke in my house, and while I was at work
in Miami.
At this time, I had moved to like a
That's what I asked you, yeah.
Suburb. It was called Hollandale Beach. I was living right off of the 95.
On your own?
Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't that bad if you could afford something on your own in Miami, which is expensive.
Yeah.
I don't care what decade you're in. Miami's expensive.
I think at the time my rent was $750.
Okay.
For a 1-bedroom condo.
Okay, look at you.
I know.
Look at God. Right?
Right. He did that because I was not at home. Mm-hmm. Come to find out, I knew the person who had broken my house.
Usually there's one.
And it was ironic because the person who broke in my house came like earlier that day and was like, hey, I'm locked out of my house. Can I borrow a knife? I'm like, a knife? Why don't you just call somebody and tell them to come open the door for you? He's like, no, I'm going to just jimmy up the window and come in.
Was he Puerto Rican?
No.
Because that's what we do.
That means he knew some people.
You jimmy the lock, with a little knife.
No, no, he wasn't. He was black. I don't think he was African American. He might have been Haitian or something. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he had popped the screen window on my back bedroom window and came in and took stuff out of my house. And I had called my dad, and I'm like, hey, Dad, somebody broke in my house. And he was like, huh? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, what did they take? I'm like, oh, they just took my TV and my radio. But I had a sewing machine. Mm-hmm. But it was weird because when I had got home, the front door looked weird. But I'm like, I didn't remember leaving the light on in my house. So the light was on, and when I opened the door, the sewing machine that I had was sitting in the middle of the floor.
It wasn't there before.
And it wasn't there.
Right.
And thank God he didn't take that because the sewing machine came from my grandmother.
Oh my God.
So I would have like really been like sick. And I like still got the sewing machine to this day. But it was just weird. And so when I talked to my dad about it, my older cousin called and he was like, as much as you are learning and growing and getting new experiences, you have to come home.
Yeah.
I was like, what? No, I don't. I'm good. He said, no, you have to come home. He said, it's one thing to deal with this experience and have support, and it's another thing to deal with the experience and don't have proper support. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what you mean? I got my friends. He said, you have your friends, but your friends are not your family. And being that the person that you knew came into your home, you need to be where you have support.
Was a friend.
Right, was a friend, allegedly. Mm-hmm. And he was just saying, like, it wouldn't be a good look if we came from Chicago and come down there to Miami and go to jail. So you got to come home. So I'm like, okay, how long do I have? And I'm like, because I'm still in school. School was about to finish. I was on my last 2 classes. And he was like, I'm going to give you 30 days after you finish your class. Give you 30 days after you graduate.
You got to wrap things up, yeah.
Yeah, he said 30 days. He said, that's it. Mm-hmm. He said, pack your car, sell your things, whatever is left, you got to come home. And I came home.
But wait a second. And this time you got a car?
Yeah, I had a car.
You got a car? You got an apartment? You're working at Steak and Shake?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was pretty resourceful. I mean, it took me 2 years to get a car, and like not having a car in Miami, in Florida, period, is not the way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't enough taxis, cabs, and that. Mind you, this is at the time where there's not no Uber, there's no Lyft, there's none of that. I think it took my mom them to come for my associate's graduation. Mm-hmm. And she would always say, just get on the bus. I know they got buses. Everywhere got buses. I'm like, Mom, but this is not like home. So they came to visit, and there was a lady on the bus stop. Okay. We were going to eat. Uh-huh. We went and ate. You know, you go to a restaurant and eat, it's about an hour and a half. And if it's a group of y'all, maybe 2 hours. So we went and ate. And when they came to bring me back home, the same lady was sitting on the bus stop.
Wow.
And my mom said, that lady's still sitting right there. I'm like, yeah, she's waiting on the bus. I said, the same bus you told me I need to take to go and do whatever it is I need to do. Uh-huh. And she was like, oh, wow, yeah, we're going to have to get your car up here.
Yeah, transportation is not good.
So they drove Florida. My car to Atlanta, and I went and picked it up from Atlanta and drove it back.
Okay. All right. So you're back in Chicago now.
Yep.
Right. You had your beautiful experience in Florida, which you still grew, right?
Yeah.
You still grew.
Yeah.
So you're back in Chicago. And now you got to find a job. You're a college graduate.
Actually, I was blessed to have a job before I got here.
Come on.
So my college would do like expos, like job fair expos, and bring industry people in. Mm-hmm. And so at the time, because I knew I wanted to still grow in my field, in my industry, and still learn, that I would need to be in some place that will offer continuous education, which a company, you want to be with a company that's big on continuous education. Yes. That means they value you and they want to see you grow because you know if you grow, it's for the betterment of their company.
Yes.
So I knew it was 2 places that I would want to work because the 2 places I wanted to work, they are globally. So I wanted to be in a company that was global. Mm-hmm. And those 2 companies it was McDonald's and the Marriott.
Okay.
Okay, so I knew about McDonald's.
Definitely global.
Right.
Definitely global, yes.
So I knew about McDonald's because, of course, I worked with them before I came, my last couple of years of high school. And I knew about the Marriott because at the time, my uncle was a concierge manager at the Marriott. And he was, meeting people, hobnobbing, and doing all these things. And we would always talk about the industry and how things were in the industry. So I'm like, these 2 places I want to be because I can grow. I can learn, I can travel, I can see places. And so, yeah, that's why. And so I met a guy named Eddie. He was a district manager. And he was trying to get me, prior to my house getting broken, to get me to come and work for them as a manager. Okay. And I called him, I explained to him what happened. And I'm like, I'm not going to be able to stay. I have to go back home. And he was like, oh, man. He said, but you will really be an asset to the company. So where's home? I said, in Chicago. He said, you know that's what we are. That's our base. That's our home front.
That's headquarters.
That's what, right. He's like, that's what the university is. I'm like, well, can you get me in? He's like, oh, yeah. He said, so being that I interviewed you, I'm going to call someone down there and see who I can get you connected with. He called from Florida. Upstairs, he connected me to a district manager at the time. His name was Tom Fay. And I met with Tom Fay, and he was excited. I met with him at the McDonald's in North Riverside, right there on Cermak and Harlem. And at the time, they had like this bad Western theme in the McDonald's, like really bad. But I met with him there. He was excited. He enjoyed having me. He's like, I want you to come meet our ops manager. I went and met the ops manager, and he was really impressed. Like, he was really loving me. And he was like, I need you to go outside and look at the menu board.
Okay.
He said, and I want you to look at the menu board and tell me what's wrong with it, and that'll give us a chance to talk. And he said, take about 5 minutes, but make sure you look it all the way over and tell me what you see on the menu board. I'm like, who want to go look at the menu board? But I was like, okay, I guess if I'm going to be the manager, I need to make sure stuff is right. So I'm looking at it. I looked, and I'm like, okay. I seen a couple numbers were out of place. And I came back and said, so what did you see? I said, well, I seen some of the numbers were out of place. I'm like, I seen one of the signs were cracked. And he was like, was that the only thing you saw? I'm like, yeah, that seemed relevant to the conversation. He was like, you didn't see the sign that wasn't properly hanging in the slot? I was like, yeah, but you could still see it, so I didn't think it was a big deal. He said, it is a big deal. He said, it's about the little details of everything. He said, but for you to see the other stuff that I didn't see means that we both saw something that we need to make sure that the managers fix. And at the time, he was like, this is where you should be at. And I got hired that day.
Awesome.
Yeah, working for a company that counts seconds and pennies.
So after that, what was after that?
So after that, while I was working for McDonald's, because I've stayed with them for like 15 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so I trained, I hired, I developed. So some of their store managers and some of their locations were managers that came up under me that I trained and developed. That was the big thing, that they always teach you how to train people, teach somebody to take your place. And I was consistently doing that. But then I was like, people were like, we need food. Where's the food? Like, when you gonna start cooking again? So I started cooking again.
For the neighborhood?
Yeah. Awesome. So working for McDonald's and cooking for the neighborhood, catering for the neighborhood at the same time.
That's mad dope. So I want to say, may I say, in the 30s?
I was still at McDonald's. Had my daughter, and still doing both things. I would take a vacation from McDonald's to do event stuff that would require me to cook for the neighborhood that I needed to have time to focus on.
So you say you have a daughter.
Yeah.
So this is the first time we mentioned this.
Oh, that's right. I did mention that to you.
So what's her name?
My daughter's name is Leona Ariel.
And this is your only child?
This is my only birth baby.
Okay.
I have other children, but she's my only birth baby.
How old is she now?
She actually will be 12 one Sunday.
Awesome.
Yes, it's almost to that dear old 13.
Boy. So what are you doing for her?
So
what's gonna happen on her birthday?
So we're going to go Sunday after church. We're going to go with about 30 people from church and our family. And we're going to go have pizza.
Including me?
Yes, you're more than welcome. We're going to go and have pizza and enjoy and celebrate me, because it's my birthday. It's her birthday, but it's my birthday. It's the day I gave birth. Like,
Samantha.
Hey, include me in the celebration. Just include me. But no, we're going to go do that. And she'll get to invite a couple of her friends. And yeah, we're just going to enjoy each other.
Wait. I'm going to go back a little bit. You just said there are going to be 30 people.
30.
And she could invite only a couple of her friends? Who's everybody else? The family?
Family. So our family, our church family, So
So the church is going.
not the whole church, but pretty much. So with birthdays, we normally celebrate twice.
Okay.
So we have what's considered a family dinner where you go and celebrate with our grandma, our older aunts, our aunts and uncles, the family things. So you can do all the family stuff. And then you have your party and you go celebrate with your friends. So this is her family dinner.
Okay.
So yeah, she asked to do some other things. So I'm told her by the time I get home today, have your list narrowed down so we can see what we can do. But yeah, it's always about family. It's about showing support, which is some of the things traditionally we've gotten away from. It's like a free for all, every man for themselves. But I'm still a firm believer of the village. And a day like this, you need to have your village come to celebrate you and let you know how they feel about what you've accomplished, what you've done, so that you can grow. That's the only way you know that you're on the right path and you can grow, because you have your village telling you how they feel about you.
That's awesome. I'm gonna say this because you haven't mentioned it.
What?
You're a single mom.
Yes.
And you're doing all of these things.
I got a village. What do you mean I got a village?
That's just woman power right there.
I have a village.
That's queen power right there. And I love it.
So like there's 3 generations of community involvement. It's my mother, Miss Angela Taylor, then there's me, and then there's my daughter. She got really involved and hands-on when she was about 9. Well, I'm not even going to say 9. When she came out, because the first time we had our garden market, I was pregnant with her. Yeah. And then once I had her, the next season when I had her, there was a lady named Annette Bennett. And she's like, well, we don't want people all over the baby. We don't want them touching her, but we know she's going to be here. She turned my baby into like the mascot of the market. Okay. So she would make like, she made her a carrot. So one day she was a carrot. Another day she was a potato.
Oh, she was in a costume.
She was making costumes. So it was like, you can look at the baby, but don't touch her. Don't touch the carrot and the potato. So, and then there was also a way for people to like also like hold her without actually coming into actual contact with her because she was in her costume. Yeah. So, yeah, so she was that. She was the flower. Okay. So, yeah, so she's been out there in the community for a long time.
That is a great memory. I love it.
The Chicago Sun-Times did an article on her. Like, so in Garfield Park with the Garfield Park Community Council, we do a pop-up grocery store. And the Sun-Times came during her spring break, and we were opening. And I want to say, like, the first couple paragraphs was about this young lady who decided to spend her spring break helping open a pop-up for the community. It was like, we're supposed to be talking about the pop-up, and what we offering in here, they're talking about this young lady who's 11 and helping open up this pop-up so the community can have fresh fruits and vegetables. So yeah, that's like, I get excited about that.
Yeah, it's just awesome what God is doing with the family.
I know, keep us in his favor.
yes, I'm loving it. So I'm gonna ask you.
That was a McDonald's tagline.
Was it? Was
it? I'm loving it.
That was.
Yeah.
But there's a jingle to that though.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it.
Awesome. So now you're working with the community. You're working with the community again,
yes.
Right? This is your full-time job now.
Yes.
Have there been any struggles in what you're doing?
Yeah. It has.
Can you expound on that?
Trying to find places, because on the west side, we have a lot of vacant storefronts. And trying to find spaces where you meet a landlord that is for the community and want to see the community thrive and not just line their pockets is hard. Trying to put somebody who has a dream of being a business owner and want to provide good food for their community is hard. Like, I'm a person who's just starting out. I don't have thousands and thousands of dollars. I have a minimum, so I know one landlord I spoke to on the Madison corridor area over in Garfield Park. I called them. I'm like, hi, I'm calling about your property that you have up for rent. can you tell me what the rent is? He said $5,000
Are you serious?
a month. He wanted $5,000 a month, and the property had no floor and no walls. So I'm to pay you $5,000 a month, and I'm just starting out, and I still have to build out the space.
And we know rent don't go for no $5,000 a month over there.
Do we?
We have to.
Do we?
That's downtown prices.
Do we?
Well, they need to.
I mean, the reality of that is like, that's not realistic. That's not someone who's for the community.
Right.
So when I was working with Garfield Park Community Council with the storefront activation, I'm actually like putting these properties on a map and like, okay, this person wants $5,000. So I've talked to this person. And then not even 3 doors down, this person wants $3,000. Now I'm like, why is this rent so? A month. So it then became like, do it got floors and walls? Most of these places don't have floors and walls.
Are they trying to keep it closed?
They're trying.
Because that's what it sounds like to
I
me.
don't think it's that they're trying to keep it closed. I think they see the bigger developments that are coming into Garfield Park.
Trying to hold out.
They're trying to hold out for the biggest dollar, for the biggest buy, the biggest buyout.
Right. Just
But
sell the whole building.
And that's not realistic. That's hindering the community and not showing that you're for the community and that you want to see the community thrive and grow. Like, there's a lot of potential in Garfield Park, East and West, because I don't separate them. Sorry, city. We got one Garfield Park. I don't care what you say. It's one Garfield Park.
You got to talk to other CLF people.
Hey, I mean, it is what it is. It's one Garfield Park, and I haven't met anybody from Garfield Park who says that. They'll identify with a side because that's what we're asked to.
Right.
But realistically, put them in a room. It's Garfield Park across the board. And so,
West side is the best side.
Tell it again. Say it for the people in the back, please.
West side is the best side. Come on.
So with that being said, it's like we want business owners, we want land owners who have the community in mind, who wants to see Garfield Park grow. Like there's a ton of businesses that want to be in Garfield Park, but because these owners are waiting for a buyout or trying to get the biggest dollar to gouge the money out of a person, it does not make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah. It also happens on Division Street.
Oh, yeah.
I go there all the time. And I'm like, why is these storefronts are empty? Who's the landlord?
Mm-hmm. And
how can we work with this landlord to make sure there's someone that wants to open a business up?
Exactly.
To start one, because right now it's just empty. Mm-hmm. So why not make some money, landlord?
Exactly.
Rent it out for a reasonable price, monthly, and go from there. You might like it.
That would be a win-win situation if everybody thought like we did right now.
Yeah.
But it's about accountability as well. So all this was on Madison. And by Garfield Park being a food desert, we only have one grocery option, and that's Save a Lot. And they don't have the best covering identity based upon past experiences that people had of Save a Lot before they did the remodel and the rebrand and reopening. Mm-hmm. So when Aldi's left, they left and didn't say nothing. It was like, okay, bye.
Right, peace
they
out.
disappeared in the middle of the night. I mean, like, went in there and shopped on Monday, got up Tuesday morning, I forgot my milk, let me go back. Wait a minute, the store was just right here. You saw the store? Yeah, I saw the store, but the store gone.
Right.
And they did not have enough courtesy to have a conversation with the community. And I'm speaking to that from a community and a resident's perspective. Like, they would have liked to know, what can we do differently to get you to stay? The community would have wanted to know that.
Yeah.
But they wasn't afforded that opportunity.
No.
But let me turn my head backwards, because now I have to talk to this situation from a business perspective and kind of help people understand that they did not want to go. They had to go. As a business owner, you want to get in as much as you put out. But if your loss outweighs your profit, and I'm trending in a loss, I can't stay. Even if I'm needed, I can't stay because I'm at a loss. That doesn't work if I'm at a loss. We're not working together if I'm at a loss. And once you're at a loss financially, you have to look at what your staff is like. Because once you're at a loss, you have to change staffing, you have to change needs, you have to change what you're carrying. And that already sustained a lot of damage. A lot of damage. They sustained damage when there was the George Floyd riots. They lost the windows and people went in there and trashed it. They brought it back. Somebody broke a window again. They were robbed. And it was all in a small window of time. And to fix one of those big windows, it's not cheap. It's a couple $1,000.
It's definitely a couple thousand.
Because now you got to bring in special equipment. It has to be hung a certain way. It has to have certain things. And it has to be air pressured. Those things cost money. And if we're talking about a person in business and we want to thrive in business, in community, you have to also think as a business person. Because if it was your business, you don't want to lose. And if you're losing, you're going to leave. So we have to make sure that the needs match how we're presenting ourselves. The needs have to match the action.
Right.
And that's really big.
So they left.
They left. It was like, bye.
So where now you have Save a Lot.
Yeah.
And that's not doing so great.
Save a Lot is doing the best that they can. I'm not saying they're not doing great because people are still shopping with them. But it's like the community has to follow up consistently. We have to hold them accountable. We have to stay on top of what's going on with them because we don't want them to lose out. Mm-hmm. And we don't want them to go back to the situation they were in before the reopening.
Right.
So that's important. Like, this is the option we have.
So the community needs to work with them.
They need to work with them, yes.
It's a team effort for them to stay in that community, to have
exactly.
to have a store there for people to buy their food, their veggies, and stuff that they need.
Yep.
But there's always issues in the community that's missing a lot, that doesn't have a lot.
Yeah.
So we tend to have those problems. How can we fix those problems?
First of all, we have to, as a community, self-evaluate ourselves and have an alignment of what we want for our community. Because I can say, and how I see Garfield Park growing, I want Garfield Park to turn into a thriving walking hub of businesses to where instead of me having to drive to Wicker Park or Logan Square to go out and do social things at night, I want to be able to do it in my own community. Yeah. Instead of me wanting to get food or, go shopping, I want to be able to do it in my community. I don't want to go and invest my dollars in another community where they're thriving. Right. Like, that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't help.
It doesn't help where I'm at.
The people out.
Exactly.
It's a tough one.
It is. It is.
But I believe if we keep on trucking, or putting one foot in front of the other,
yeah,
and putting this in prayer and educating people,
yep,
and loving on people and letting them know there's a different way of what they're doing, that we could thrive.
Oh, most definitely.
We could thrive, and we could be the best in the city.
Okay, you on my team. We're going to go out there and start beating the streets again.
But I believe in it. I was just over there. I just saw you last weekend.
Yes.
I was just over there. They had a soul food restaurant.
The Soul Food Lounge, yeah.
Right next to it. I walked in.
You did?
Yeah, I wanted information. I wanted information.
That's Quentin. We love Quentin. Mm-hmm. Quentin also owned the turkey chop. So if you, it was a big thing. Everybody loved turkey. And he owned a restaurant on Chicago Avenue called the Turkey Chop. And his big thing was smothered turkey chops. We're like, how you get a turkey chop? What is a turkey chop? It's a breast that's sliced and frozen, and it's cooked like a pork chop, and it's smothered. But instead of it being pork, it's turkey, and it's just as good as a pork chop.
Okay. All right. Cool.
And yes, no, it doesn't taste like chicken. It will give you the mental symbolism of a pork chop, because most soul food people like to have their smothered pork chops. But if you, for some reason, are not on the pork train with the rest of us, it's okay.
Right.
You could have went to turkey chop.
Yeah.
So Quentin has also been one of the restaurants we partnered with during COVID, because when we were growing our veggies, they were growing in abundance, and we had to make sure that we weren't losing them. So he was one of the restaurants that took on some of our veggies for us.
Awesome. Shout out to Quentin.
I know, yay,
because
Quentin.
when I walked in there, the smells like, yes.
It got you.
I was like, can I have a menu? I just need a menu. I wasn't going to buy nothing. I was thinking about going on a date there, taking the wife out and going on a date there.
Yes.
And I was like,
make your reservations.
Yeah, right. Yeah, definitely. I looked around like, okay, this is pretty tight up. Yeah, I need to make reservations for sure. The place was packed. So yeah, I got the menu, and I'm definitely going to be eating there. It just smells so good.
Get the chef's menu with the 3 courses.
Okay.
What he picks, so it's 2 entrees, 2 appetizers, and it's like his choice. And he makes it. It's almost like a tasting menu that he gives you a nice array of things. So
Awesome.
yeah, and it's reasonable for the quality of food that he serves. It's very reasonable.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to ask you this last question.
Come on, bring it out already.
I'm not gonna go there. We ain't crying today.
It's no reason to cry.
Right.
It's no reason.
Because it's all good.
It's a lot of positive things going on the West Side, so it's no reason to cry.
You know what I meant. By that.
So yeah, what you got for me?
What do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Dun dun dun. No, in the next 5 years, I see myself supporting organizations, the city, in closing the gap. And when I talk about gap, I'm talking about the life expectancy gap.
Yeah.
Right now on the West Side, we're expected to live only until the age of 60, between 65 and 67, depending on where you at on the West Side. Where if you go to a North Side neighborhood or even further west to downtown, they're going to live 11 years longer than us. And why is that?
I was going to ask you that.
It's the access that they have. It's the traditions that they have. It's the practices that they have. And so I see myself in a position to where I can change what it is that we do, one bite at a time. And that's doing what I'm doing now, going to the market and re-educating people about food, reintroducing to people onions are our friends. Like, they help with blood pressure, they help with blood flow, they help with inflammation, but people don't like onions.
I don't like onions.
And people don't like onions because most recipes that you have, it tells you cook onions in oil until translucent. So onions are a juicy vegetable, but they're actually a fruit. And with you cooking it till it's translucent, the juices are coming out into the oil. So what happens to the oil? The oil tastes like onions. So now that the oil tastes like onions, when you put your greens in or your zucchini or your squash, what does everything else taste like?
Onions.
Onions, exactly. Onions don't take that long to cook. They have a very powerful aroma, but they're not an overwhelming vegetable until you cook it in that type of fashion. So just moments like that, I want to be able to create moments like that.
I love that. You just gave us a lesson. You just gave us a lesson. I love that.
So yeah, just to be able to create moments like that in my community where we can have those conversations and learn something different about how to have our food, what our food looks like. Being able to be on a team where those who provide food to my community, as far as like stores, hold them accountable for what they have. Like, excuse me, sir, this is dusty. This is not clean. This is old. This is not fresh at all. why is this sitting on this type of shelving? Let's put it properly. Like I want to be able in 5 years to change mindsets. I want to be able to have people fueled up about what they want to see their food look like in Garfield Park. Okay. Because everything coming with mild sauce and lemon pepper is not where it's at.
It's so good.
It is, but it doesn't go on everything.
But I want to ask you this question.
I thought that was the last one.
Yeah, it was gonna be, but you're for the people a lot, and I love it, and it's great, and you're working on your purpose. But what about for you? What do you want to see you, other than all this stuff that you're doing?
Oh, me?
Your life, you.
I see myself married.
Come on, somebody.
I see myself making memories.
Yes.
I see myself enjoying my family. I see myself watching my daughter go to college, because 5 years from now, she will be getting ready to go to college.
Yeah, yeah.
Seeing her grow, watching her elevate. Like, I'm going to be doing that. Enjoying my grandmother, who will still be alive to tell me stories, and enjoying my dad, who has Southern backgrounds from a little town in Mississippi called Yazoo City that only had one stoplight to almost 10 years ago.
I think I heard about that one.
Yazoo City, Mississippi, yes. They only have like 3 hotels now in the city. So, yeah. So, being able to do that, being more engaged in the growing process of food, like I have access to it, but I don't have the actual green thumbs to do that. I want to be green thumb ready in 5 years.
All right, cool.
So I can enjoy myself and watch other people do what it is that I'm doing.
Cool. Samantha Taylor, I want to say thank you for coming down to Community
You are
Leadership
so welcome.
I want to say that one more time. I kind of started that one. I want to thank you for coming down
You're welcome.
to the Community Leaders Podcast.
You're welcome. You're so welcome.
Thank you for the smile.
I know. Be your own sunshine.